100%, but that's not how it works because our Constitution says the state is supposed to do 92%. So I will stop because I'm well over my time, but look forward to answering your questions.
So no, I'll pick up right there. The House position also had clawback, like a non-severability, that if you didn't rewrite the SPED formula that said the state's now magically at 99%, even though we're not adding any new dollars, we're adding the 1 year dollars of 77 million. And but then thereafter we were at 99% and everything's done. Well, if that part of the bill got vetoed, then you didn't get any of the special education funding to any of the school districts. So that was another kind of heinous portion of the House bill that was removed in conference committee. I appreciate the senator's work on that. I'm Jarrod Ousley. I serve on appropriations, child welfare and foster care, and the K-12 budget in the House. So I actually found myself quite busy to hear this last couple weeks of session, not only with the K-12 budget conference committee, because there's only 4 of us on that committee, and there's a lot of moving parts, and sometimes there's a lot of hat tricks or card tricks in there, and so we have a tendency to work together on that committee. So while we're on the floor, 6 members of the legislature downstairs in a different room, arguing out half of the state budget and extremely important education policy. So we're trying to run back and forth from the 3rd floor to the 1st floor and not miss a vote upstairs, but pay attention to what's going on downstairs. There was an interesting conversation brought up during the K-12 or the education budget conference committee in that Tier 3 in Kansas employees retirement program has I think been understandably and unarguable not adequate, and there are legislators that want to do something about it, and an attempt was made in the conference committee to go ahead and do that for certified teachers. I personally didn't think it was fair. If you're going to do it for some, you need to do it for all. You've got food workers, you've got bus drivers, you've got custodians that could all be in the same building working for the same USD for the same length of time. And if we all know it's broken, why wouldn't we fix it for all? So I'm glad the conversation came up in conference committee, and I look forward to having those conversations in a broader aspect where we can help more people. So I'm trying to pay attention to that. I do sit on appropriations, and I have tried repeatedly to bring the K-12 budget back into the mega budget on appropriations, but I just can't get enough support in there. So somewhere somebody's given the green light for our chair of K-12 to keep bundling policy with our budget and keep going through this conference committee late night, writing the formula. And then as Ethan mentioned, the Senator Corson, sorry. It mentioned, the child advocate was also, passed both chambers, and we're waiting on the governor's signature. But then there were more. There was more, because then Senator Corson also serves on judiciary, where some child welfare policy got dragged in at the last minute on the last day of committee meetings, and so I was trying to pay attention to that one. So it's been a busy session, but I'm happy to be here this morning with y'all and look forward to discussion.
Okay, just as a reminder, please don't clap or shout out. Not to call you out, but several states do not tax the retirement income of seniors. Eliminating tax on Social Security is fine, but many seniors have small pensions, etc. When will Kansas eliminate the income tax for income on seniors? I think that has overwhelmingly passed both chambers, and that is probably one piece in the discussion that we all believe will pass when we get back. And it's really the piece that's holding up everything is that income tax piece. But I think at the end of the day, and I don't control the calendar, or what comes to the floor, but I do think that both the Senate leadership and House leadership, if nothing else passes, Social Security will pass this session.
Was that the first bill?
Let me repeat the question. So several states do not tax the retirement income of seniors. Eliminating the tax on Social Security is fine, but many seniors have small pensions, etc. When will Kansas eliminate income tax on income for seniors? And I think it's Social Security is where we are at right first step.
What are the sticking points between the House and the Senate on the tax reform?
Now we're gonna start fighting.
I can kind of talk about the House position with the tax policy, then if one of the senators wants to take on the Senate position. So as Senator Sikes mentioned, kind of the sticking point is the income tax piece of the tax bill. So, there are things, I will say there are things that I like about both bills, there are things I don't like about both bills. In the House position, the thing I don't like is that it does take it down from 3 brackets to 2 brackets. But what it does is raise the standard deduction significantly so that people who have the lowest incomes are actually receiving the greatest percentage of the tax break. So